Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mr. Green. It's another of my lessons in Algebra 1, and we're going to continue talking about ratios. And when I'm talking about ratios this time, I just want to make certain some of the primary things that you probably have learned in the past are covered and make certain you understand them, okay? So we're going to use these to make certain you can understand how to deal with ratios. So let's talk about a couple of things. There are three ways to write ratios. You can see it written in any of these three ways. You could say A to B, you could say A semicolon B, you could say A divided by B. Any one of these three is a valid way to write a ratio. I say valid way because you will see all three of these on test questions that you might encounter. So you need to be aware these are all valid ways of writing ratios. Ultimately, what you should try to do is write it as a fraction because we can deal with this one mathematically. These two, even though they're valid ways of writing ratios, we don't have a way of solving these two, of dealing with these from an algebraic perspective. So we have to write it like this to solve it algebraically, okay? Now, down here there's a note that says, make certain you put the same unit of measure in both locations, okay? It's when you're writing a ratio. You saw me do that last time with the roses. I made certain I had the yellows on top and the reds on bottom, or reds on top and yellows on bottom. I can't remember which it was. But the point was, I made certain I wrote that down from the problem so that I could make certain I got my ratio written in the correct way. Okay? So, what happens if one of the two numbers is a variable? For example, 3x is equal to 12. You multiply by the x. Even if it's in the denominator down here, multiply by this denominator, okay? And that gives me 3 is equal to 12x. Divide by the 12. That gives you 1/3 is equal to x. You simplify it, gives you 1/4. I just gave you the steps for solving a ratio problem. Multiply, divide, and simplify. Those are your steps that you would follow. Multiply, divide, and simplify. Example right there. Okay? So, like I said, some basic things you probably have already covered about ratios. One, to make certain you had it. If you have any questions, bring it to tutoring so that we can talk about it. Okay? I look forward to seeing you next time.